What's going on there in the Harrisburg non-living community? Hope you're doing well. Family's going down to the hotel here to have breakfast since I get up so early. I had mine like 2 hours ago, over 2 hours ago. So I got a little free time in here in the room. It's very rare when I have little kids wreaking havoc in here. Take two young sons, stay in a hotel room for a couple of days and see how that works out from time to time. Anyway, I'm just going to put in some content in just in this group, as promised. I'll try to do it at least twice a week. I want to talk about networking real quick, and especially networking if you're an introvert or you're shy, you're insecure. Because when people talk about networking, the people that give the advice on networking are people that are very outgoing, they're very sociable, and to them, networking is just the easiest thing to do in the world. But if you're an introvert, if you're shy, you're insecure, networking is hard. Networking is not fun. Networking is something that you don't want to do because you don't want to get in those social type of environments. And I can understand that. I can sympathize with that. I grew up being pretty shy. I'm still shy now, but I'm at the over 40 shy, which means that I've accepted my shyness and I just deal with it because that's who I am. You get to know yourself the older you get. Yeah, I know, Samantha. Hey, Samantha, what's up? Good to see you on here. It does get tiring. But I want to talk about how to navigate a networking event if you're insecure, if you're shy, or an introvert. Now, you can be an introvert and not insecure or shy. I mean, people are just, I know some very self-confident people that are naturally introverted. That's just the way they are. That's their behavior. If they had a choice, they'll be sitting at home watching Netflix or hanging with the family and not at a networking event. When you go to a networking event, you have to in this day and age. With the tech culture the way it is, you have to go to networking events from time to time. It's just, that's the way you got to meet people face to face, and that face to face contact can turn into something big, or it may not, but at least you can get information about the field you're in, and it's a great way to talk to people with that face to face contact. When you go to a networking event, you should plan how to do it. If you're an extremely shy person, then you may not want to stay at a networking event the whole time. Let's say a networking event's 2 hours. You may want to go for an hour. Just say, okay, I'm going to go to this networking event. I'm not going to stay the whole time because that's just too much for me, but I'll go for an hour and see what happens in an hour. And then once you get in there, don't feel like you have to be talking to everybody right at that second. Like when I went to the networking event night before last, I did not want to go. I'm being honest. I did not want to go to it. I was looking for excuses to get out of it. But I knew the value that I was going to get by going was important because I'm in technology, so I could get information. I'm looking to maybe move to D.C. down the road. And for veteran to hire stuff, I feel it would be great information to pass along for those veterans that might want to get into tech. So there was a bunch of reasons to go, but I almost skipped it because I just didn't want to get in that social environment. I was tired. But the event was about an hour and 40 minutes. I stayed about an hour and 10. And 30 minutes of that was speeches, so that was kind of nice. I took some of the pressure of the networking off. When I went in there, I didn't talk right when I went in. I just kind of roamed around, scanned the room. I didn't just jump in there and just start, trying to shake hands and talking to everybody that I saw. That's right. You're right, Samantha. You're exactly right. 80-something%. Exactly right. Networking is huge if you want to get a job. But at every networking event, there are people that are going to be introverted also that are there. There are people there. When I went to the event on Thursday night, there was about 5 or 6 people that were just like me. They weren't really talking. They were drinking their soda or whatever, just kind of hanging out, eating their little food. They had little munchies there. They were eating their food. And I approached them. I just casually approached a couple of them and just started talking to them. And each conversation I had was about 5 minutes. I had one that was about 10. One of them was from a guy that works for a U.S. senator. And he gave me his business card because that senator is in the same unit that I was at when I was stationed over at Joint Base Meyer-Henderson Hall at the Old Guard. So he wants me to call him next week, and they may link me up with that senator. And that was a 10-minute conversation with a guy who was very introverted, just kind of hanging out there all by himself. When I got done with him, I waited another 5 minutes before I talked to anybody. 5 or 6, I kind of looked around the room some more. There was another guy over there that was kind of just hanging out. I kind of approached him and said, oh, what do you do? Where are you from? And he was from Annapolis. He worked at Mantech, and I got some information. And then I talked to the founder of Vets in Tech for a few minutes. She was there roaming around. That was 3 people I talked to in like a 20-minute period. And then I talked to one other person that's in tech, that works for some Mantech, who sponsored that event. And then the speeches started going. And then when the speeches were done, I excused myself because I had talked to 4 people. I'd been sociable enough, I felt. I got a little bit of information. But once the speeches were done, it was kind of like you can hang out if you want kind of atmosphere. I excused myself. Now, people that are really, really outgoing, they may have stayed that whole other hour or whatever hanging out. But I knew that my personality, I had been outgoing. I had talked to a few people. They'd given a speech. By that time, I excused myself. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. You go, you kind of take little baby steps. You go in, talk to a few people, but don't feel the pressure where you have to talk to everybody. Because there were people at that event on Thursday that they were doing that. They were just talking to everybody. They were so outgoing. You could hear them. They were noisy, shaking everybody's hand and just all over the place. But if you don't have the personality to do that, go in there and just do it simple. I'm going to talk to a few people, get a little bit of information. As soon as it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, my God, I've talked to enough. I'm ready to get out of this environment. Then casually excuse yourself. Find a spot in the program where it's okay and not weird if you kind of excuse yourself. Now, if you do it right in the beginning, you go there and talk to one person, then leave. That's a little too much. But there's nothing wrong with doing that. So I'm going to represent the shy and introverted people, who don't get represented enough when it comes to networking. Because I follow all these influencers because I like to hear their advice. And they always say, oh, you got to network, you got to be out there, you got to be talking to everybody, everybody. You can't be shy in this business. That's not the case. You don't have to be the most outgoing person. As long as you show up to the event, you talk to a few people and socialize. And don't be hiding in the corner or hiding in the bathroom like really, really, really shy people do. Talk to a few people, shake a few hands, and then when it gets to the point where you're just, you're burned out, you're ready to head on out of there, just excuse yourself. But the information that I got from the guy at Mantech, especially the guy for the center, which I thought was kind of cool. He's a well-known center. I'm not going to name who he is because everything gets so political nowadays that I don't want people commenting on their political views if they like or don't like them. But he is a very well-known senator in the news all the time. And now I have a business card, and I'm supposed to call on the Monday, and then hopefully they're going to set up a meeting with me with the senator because I was in the old guard. And I get to talk directly to a senator, which is, can't beat that. That's kind of cool. Regardless of what your view is on politics. That's cool to meet the U.S. Senator. But that was a 10-minute conversation I had, And when I left there, I was happy that I went. But I also didn't stay the whole time because I knew that I was tired. I'd been up since 4:30 that morning. And I knew that, my little introverted side from time to time, that after an hour of that and talking and hearing the speeches, by that time I knew it was a great time to excuse myself and head on and meet my family and enjoy the rest of the evening. So don't feel like you have to be the most outgoing person, but hit up those networking events. If you go into a networking event for an hour networking event and you talk to 3 people, you've gotten a lot more information than you had when you walked in there that could lead to something down the road. All right? Samantha, thanks for all you're doing. I know you're the only one on. This group doesn't get a whole lot of viewers, but I try to put content just in the group. But thanks for all you're doing, man. I see all your posts, and I appreciate it as always. And you know how to contact me if you need anything. We exchange instant messages or however. Anyway, have a great day, Samantha. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And for everybody else that may watch this on the replay, same to you. Bye-bye. See ya.